Hello, Sharif here, and today I'm surprising myself that I get the countdown timer timed right. So welcome, and we've got a full evening ahead of us, and I want to get right to it. Um, but one of the things I want to get right to is our meditation, and I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. Um, I've been meditating with you as when I call up the banner and we start our meditation. Um, but I'm very self conscious because um, there's nothing in this frame, this camera frame, except me. Last time I thought I was going to have to sneeze, and it's like, okay, what do I do? I sneeze into the camera. I turn the camera off. It turned out I did not have to sneeze, but I find it a bit off-putting for me in terms of being the sole focus of attention here. So I'm bringing up something else, which is a candle. And I'm going to stay on the screen because I think I should. But I want to have another focal point for our meditation. We're still going to do our 5 minutes, and our the focus of our meditation is opening to shared consciousness. My consciousness doesn't belong to me; it belongs to all living beings, and I get to borrow a part of it. Um, it's not all human beings; it's all living beings, and we get to relax into this shared consciousness. So, right now, I'm going to invite us to relax. I'm going to turn on my usual timer. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If you want to look at our candle, you can do that. And once again, I'm going to ask you to take a couple of deep breaths. One more deep breath, and I want you to make an ah when it comes out. Ah. Relax your body. Okay. If you are ready, we can come back to our center. Um, that was a lot deeper for me. I'm happy to announce. I hope that the candle was helpful for you. If it was, you can let me know either in the comments section or send me an email if you're not using a platform where I can access comments comment sections. Um, as you know, this is the countdown to Gaia, launching a global movement for a mature, inclusive human society on a healing planet. There are lots and lots of folks who are focused on saving the planet, but not focused on us, not focused on humanity and what we're doing. So, which means we're not going to save the planet. Um, and there are other people who are focused only on human behavior, generally the behavior of those guys over there, because we're okay. And we're not doing that either. We're focusing on ourselves, we're focusing on each other, and we're also focusing on those guys over there. But we can't change them without changing ourselves. And we can't change ourselves unless we get ourselves focused, unless we get ourselves conscious. So our goal in this regard, and let me get my let me get my slide ready here. My goal in this regard is what I read to you last week. We are not 8 billion human beings divided into nations, territories, religions, races, and other illusory distinctions. We are one. That is the most fundamental consciousness transition that we must undertake. And I posted this on Facebook and I've posted it on LinkedIn as I focus a lot of things. And this one has gotten some traction. There are people who have been reposting it, and there are people who have been uh, commenting on it, both positive, most positively, but a lot of them are like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to get 8 billion of us who are separated from each other, who are aiming nuclear weapons at each other? How do you get them to recognize that we are one? Well, nobody said it was going to be easy. It will actually be easier than you think. The people who think that, oh, this is just impossible, um, it will be possible, and I'm looking forward to the next 10 months, the next couple of years, and looking forward to the time, which could be before 2030, where I get to say, see, it happened. We got to replace all of our institutions in a heartbeat, literally overnight. I want us to go back and think about how quickly some of our governments changed, how quickly um, the when the before the Berlin Wall fell, Erich Honecker, the head of East Germany, was asked by the media how long he thought the Berlin Wall would last. And he was immediate and unequivocal. He said the Berlin Wall will last another 100 years. From the time he made the statement, it didn't last another 100 hours. That's how fast it can happen. The Soviet Union blasted cosmonauts into low Earth orbit, and they stayed up a couple of months, but when they came down in a different country because the Soviet Union didn't exist anymore. How quickly will it take for us to change? Well, pretty quickly because I'm working on it. Pretty quickly because y'all are working on it. And the harder you work on it, the faster it's going to happen. We've got to change from caterpillar consciousness to butterfly consciousness. You've heard me say this a lot. But we need to activate this butterfly consciousness. And that doesn't mean putting up a picture of a butterfly. That means thinking about what are the aspects, what are the steps, what are the things that have to go away in this society, and then what are the things that we have to build from this society. A lot of you heard the statements during the Black Lives Matter protests of defund the police. And this came out of the frustration and anger around the excesses of police departments, including the horrific murder of George Floyd. While everybody was impacted by that, defunding the police wasn't the answer. What they were doing was proposing a problem to get rid of the problem. I worked fairly hard to get them to change the statement, transform the police. If you said that, you get a lot of people, including an awful lot of cops, engaged and agreeing with you. But the people that put that slogan out of defund the police didn't want cops agreeing with them. Where is that statement now? There's some departments that took some money away from some cops and put it into some community programs, but it did not solve the problem. So the question is, do you want to solve the problem or do you want to make a statement? I'm done making statements. I was making statements when I was a teenager. What I want to do is actually solve the problem so that it goes away and I can take up photography, which is what I would do if we didn't have the world that we lived in right now. So the challenge that we've got is not to have competing brands or competing ideas around how to do Caterpillar better. What we have to do is embrace a whole new way of thinking around our challenges. So, excuse me for a second. My cursor keeps disappearing. So we talked last time. Whoops. We talked last time about what it's going to take for us to have a Gaia event in March of 2024. I'm still working that through, but some things got clearer for me in the last few days even. I want to share that with you. So, and I shared the stuff, the writing that's in blue is what I shared last time. This Gaia event is going to be a significant communication with Gaia, with the consciousness of all. This is going to be a two-way conversation. You will be getting a message from Gaia. You and all the other 8 billion of us will be getting a message from Gaia. And I have no idea what the message is, and I have no idea what form it'll take. Will it be skywriting across the sky? Will it be something that hits your heart? Will it be, I don't know, release the Kraken? I have no idea right now, but these things are going to come not just to me. I'm not the all-seeing guru. It's going to come to all of us. Okay, all of us will get this hit, and we need to say something to Gaia. We need to say something to her, to our budding nation, the nation of 8 billion humans. And we need to do that in practiced face-to-face gatherings. So between now, 2nd of March, and the 21st this is the 2nd of November, 21st of March, we get to do something called building the psychosphere. This is the terminology that was used by Dr. A.T. Aryaratne, the man who's referred to as the Gandhi of Sri Lanka. And many of you know that I worked in Sri Lanka for close to 2 decades, working with Dr. Aryaratne, with Sarvodaya, and causing a people-led ceasefire. And the way that we did that was to change how people thought, what Dr. Aryaratne calls the psychosphere. The really cool thing, Dr. Aryaratne is getting pretty up in age, but I think that he's going to be coming onto this live stream in the near future, so that he can share his wisdom with us, and especially sharing the wisdom about the psychosphere. Here's a picture of us back in the days when I had hair. So this is a while ago. And between you and me, he's the cause of me losing most of my hair. It was an honor and a privilege to be working with the Gandhi of Sri Lanka, but it was not always easy. So the next thing that we need to think about is that this movement has to become transcontinental and transnational, transcultural. I see all of these movements for saving our planet or stopping climate change, and everybody in the picture looks the same. They're all, young. They're all white. They're all comfortably middle class. They're all college educated, and all of those markers that I just said is a minority of the people on the planet. What we need to do is have a planetary movement. And from the very beginning, that's what I am aiming for. That's what we are aiming for. We're going to start with some core or root facilitators. And these facilitators are hopefully will be in every country, every culture, every nationality, etc. But we're starting in a situation where we know from the very beginning we'll be multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, etc. In North America, we're going to be focusing on our core root efforts will be in the Kansas City area. In South America, our core root activities will be in Buenos Aires. And I'm sure that this is going to include people in Brazil, in Ecuador, and lots of other places. But we're going to be focusing first in these areas. In Africa, we're going to be focusing first in the Cape Town area. But I'm thinking there's also going to be some person or persons who come forward in Central Africa, North Africa, East Africa, West Africa. Africa is really big, and so we need to be able to cover all of that. Same thing is true with Asia. We've got interest in participating from South Asia. And this is the Sri Lanka connection that I talked about earlier. Central Asia, none yet. North Asia, Russia is really, really big, and a really big part of Russia is Asian. And so I met people from the Kamchatka peninsula in Russia, which is um, a stone's throw away from Alaska. And they were, Asian people wearing seal coats. I mean, it's really nothing European about them. And East Asia, I've been to Indonesia a lot, but I'm not sure that that's going to be a representative portion of Asia. So I'm not particularly activating anything right there. Then we've got Europe. East Europe, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to have a facilitator in Poland. And I've been in conversations with someone who is very interested in the Common Way process, and we've had several long conversations on how he can get involved, and I'm hoping that he's listening to me, and we can get ourselves focused that way. Western Europe, there are a couple of people who I know are involved, and I'm not. We'll see how that goes. In terms of transcultural and transreligious, I'm looking for facilitators from the inclusivist branches of 4 or 5 major religions. Now, we know that Christianity is a really big religion, and it's a really diverse religion. In fact, its inclusivist branches and its exclusivist branches are so different from each other, they might as well be different religions. The exclusivist branches of Christianity are more alike the exclusivist branches of Islam than they are of the inclusivist branches of Christianity. So all the extremists line up, and all of the, let's say, humanists or all of the inclusivist people line up. And we're the ones lining up with the folks who can practice inclusivity and a world for all. And we also talked about being trans species, that the consciousness of Gaia isn't a human consciousness. I know there are people who have been attempting to contact and attempting to speak for Gaia. But when they start speaking for Gaia, they sound like human beings from a Western culture speaking English and talking about human, generally middle class issues, which means they're reflecting themselves. What I want us to be able to do is to open the door for other intelligent species to share in the intelligence of Gaia. In this regard, my first indicator, my first invitation would go out to the cetaceans, to the whales and the dolphins. This will be the thing that really helps us get over the notion that we are the most intelligent beings on the planet. It's time we did that, and I think it's time that we started getting a little bit more humble about who can do what. Um, Also, I want us to get in contact with the corvids, the crows and the ravens. Um, the thing with the cetaceans is whales and dolphins have really big brains, um, much bigger, much more complex than ours. Someone said, I need to find, I need to look up who said this. Someone said that for us to try to measure the intelligence of a dolphin is like a dog trying to measure human intelligence. They don't have the tools to do that, and we don't have the tools to look at the intelligence of creatures that have four brain lobes. We only have three that have huge brains, not only huge in an absolute sense, but huge in terms of um, uh, the ratio between their body and their brain. Um, they can use brain waves to stun their food. We don't even know what our brain wave is. And so, like I said, it's time for us to get over ourselves, not putting ourselves down. We do okay. We can hold our own. We can color inside the lines. But I think it's really important for us to recognize that we are not the only intelligent species on this planet. The corvids are very important because on the opposite side of um, a dolphin's brain, and I'm holding my hands out like this. This is about the size of a dolphin's brain. Okay, bigger than mine. Um, Crows have brains about this big. So how can they be so smart, so problem solving? How can they remember things past the lifetime of the average crow? I think that they're doing something called parallel processing. When you put a whole bunch of computers side by side and having them talk to each other, it can turn into a supercomputer. And I think that what they're doing is supercomputing. And it would be nice for us to be able to appreciate that and draw them into the conversation for of the holonic consciousness. Elephants with a question mark. There's no question but that they are intelligent. There's no question about that they are civilized. Oh, that's the other thing. All these beings are more civilized than humans. We can learn civilization from them. Again, get over yourself. um, but elephants are so big and so spread out on the planet. I'm not sure that that's going to work. The really cool thing is that to the extent that we're working with Sarvodaya in Sri Lanka, one of Sarvodiya's many locations around the island is a 500-acre tract called Tanamawila, and it is right up next to an elephant sanctuary. And I've had experience with the elephants there. The elephants there are pretty pissed off. You don't want to be on the other side of an angry elephant, and they're angry for good reason. Humans encroaching on their land, and we can work that out. We can work that out by communicating with them. I don't know how we're going to do that, but I know that we can do that. Um, Octopuses, again, a really intelligent being. My question, two question marks there, is that octopuses seem to be very solitary beings. They don't play well with their own kind, and um, uh, their intelligence may just be too unusual for us. I mean, everything I've mentioned before this are beings with one brain. Octopuses have seven or eight, and no bones. And if there's any being on this planet that comes closest to being an alien life form, it's them. I like them and would like to see if we could do that kind of incorporation, but I'm not sure about it. Okay, any other beings? Those are the ones I'm bringing to the. I am suggesting that we work with. Um, are there other more than human beings that you think that are not pets that you think that we should bring to the table? That are not pets and are not domesticated. We don't want beings that look and act like us or afraid of us. What we need to do is look for partners. Um, so this Gaian message is going to be something that gets transmitted and gets received all around the world. How is that going to take place? We know, we know for a fact it's not going to be done by the internet. We're not going to be able to develop the holonic consciousness through the internet. We are going to have to start doing some practices that are restoring our consciousness to its rightful state. We are not supposed to be staring blankly into a computer screen while these little, people, run around on football teams or dance or whatever. Okay. That is passive. That does not build your heart. It does not build your mind. We need to get away from that. There is a role for the internet. We're doing it right now. Okay. But that if you're using the internet for your entertainment, you need to stop. If you are using the internet as a means to medicate your loneliness, you need to stop. Go ahead and be lonely. More important than that, though, go out into nature and start talking to the corvids. If you live near the coast where you've got whales and dolphins, go out in a boat and start talking to the whales and dolphins. They will hear you. They may talk back. You may get scared. All that means that everybody's alive. I was talking to someone very recently about how they felt when they went out into the woods and how it was exhilarating for them, but it was frightening for them at the same time. And that is really, really good. Okay, so this message may be a declaration of identity. It may be Gaia saying, yes, I'm Gaia. Yes, I'm conscious. Here I am. Thanks for talking. Stop doing most of the stuff that you're doing on the planet right now because it's not good. And the things that are going to be good for the planet, good for humans, good for all other beings, the things that'll make your heart sing have nothing, and the things that have nothing to do with how much money you're making. Now, if she says that, I'll be okay. If she says more than that, I'll be okay. If she tells us how to structure ourselves to start becoming the colony beings that we can be, that we can work hard for each other, we can work hard with each other, we can work hard as each other. If she starts doing that, we're going to be living in a fundamentally different world in no time flat. Um, for those of you who have a copy of the book, Birthing the Nation of Gaia, you know, in the back, in the there's an appendix where I talk about how do you build and activate the latent powers. And it's those latent powers that we are going to be talking about in future activities of bringing us together, bringing all of us together so that we can start communicating not through using the internet. We can start communicating with other beings, not by using the internet. They don't have any of these. Okay. And once we start doing that, we're going to start seeing our way forward. Once we start seeing our way forward, we can start acting in a very, very different way. Okay, went a little longer than I was planning on, but I'm glad that we got all this out. Um, I'm glad that the conversation around butterfly consciousness was in there so that we can start the process of uh, doing our work. So let me say one more thing and then get going. Um, a lot of you, for various reasons, attend the live stream through the recording, and that's okay. But and a lot of you attend the recording because as I'm doing this right now, you're in a country where everybody's asleep. So, but we're going to have to start the process of us using the internet to awaken the latent powers. That means that we're going to have to be on the same call at the same time, doing the same things. Um, you know, if whether you're in UK and France, or whether you are in South Africa or Uganda, whether you're in Ecuador or Argentina, we're going to have to start doing the same thing at the same time. One of the things that I'm going to do is have if we're going to have latent power day on Thursday or Friday, on a Thursday or a Friday, I may have to do 4 or 5 facilitations to take in the people who are awake at this time, awake at that time, awake at the other time. So I'm saying that there may be 4 or 5 of these events on a given day, but they are not going to be recorded, and the recording will not be available. If you're going to participate, you're going to figure out which one of these 4 or 5 that you're going to be able to be in, and you're going to participate in that one. It sounds fairly arbitrary, but our timely connection is really important. As fast as we can, I also want us to get face to face. There's something that gets transmitted when we are within 20 feet of another human being, and I think it's really important for us to do this. Okay. Let's get going. I am looking forward to continuing this on our coming Tuesday. May all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to talking to you